I can tell you, folks, Republicans are bracing for the iceberg that may sink their chances of controlling Congress after November. The guy who's supposed to be steering their ship, well, he may have already abandoned ship. In a Quinnipiac poll just last week, more than 2/3 of voters say Trump is not focused enough on the problems most Americans face. So what is he focusing on? Well, according to Axios, a Trump insider told us he concentrates on the hobbies that distract from his terrible polling numbers, about which he is in denial. Rather than face the issues, Trump often pivots to showing visitors renderings of the new White House ballroom or a model of the planned Triumphal Arch. He showcases his new Air Force One, touts his plans for Dulles, and obsesses about the helipad being built on the South Lawn. But if you ask Trump, and this may shock you, he is not the problem.
If I don't run, will those people go out and vote? And that's the one thing I can't tell. I'm going to ask them to. The question is, will they vote? Because a lot of them are very angry at Republicans, to be honest with you. They're
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, they're angry at Republicans, but they're not angry at me.
Interesting thing. Why?
They're not angry at me, but they are angry at Republicans.
First off, if I don't run, okay, we'll set that aside for the moment, because I hate to break it to you, Republicans, but that is not the guy you want as captain of your light boat. Too late. Joining me now is Ben Wickler, the former chairman of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin and the author of a very timely new book. This is the plan: How to End America's Meltdown and Save Democracy. Dude, I love that. It's good. It's a good read. I've been catching a lot of you talking about it and laying it out. And that's good to sort of frame this upcoming battle, the battle that we're really already in. The president obviously believes he's done no wrong, at least according to himself. And now, of course, he's got Republicans he wants to blame for this. How do you see this? Do you think voters are going to buy this it's them, not me argument from Trump?
You know, there's a reason why I put a fire extinguisher on the cover of my book. I think there's a sense among just about everyone, the country's on fire. And, we're all trying to figure out who did this. Donald Trump is the one lighting the fire. Now, he has a lot of assistants. You ask why gas is so expensive. It's not just that Trump has taken us into this disastrous war. It's that every single Republican member of the House cast the deciding vote to allow this war to continue. So there's blame to go around. But what people want is for this ridiculous economy to actually deliver for them rather than just for Donald Trump and his billionaire MAGA buddies. And it's very clear that Donald Trump wants those billionaires in his ballroom, and he doesn't want to do anything that addresses the cost of living for Americans that are crying out for help. That is the actual problem that people are mad about. And Donald Trump and every Republican in the House and Senate are to blame for it.
You know, it's what intrigued me so much about your book. It reminded me of when I, came into the RNC. I began to set out, what direction I thought the party needed to go in after, being blown up in 2006 and blown up in 2008 against Barack Obama and the party beginning to fracture. Tea Party seeds were there, but hadn't really crystallized just yet. So there was a lot of stuff roiling around. We are in this cycle, and you look at a state like yours, Wisconsin, and others that are right there in that bubble. There's a lot of discourse on where the Democratic Party is headed. And so this idea of what the plan should be matters. What the plan looks like matters. We were just talking about what's going on in Michigan just a bit ago, for example. Are you at all worried about a contentious Democratic primary spilling over into November in this cycle where voters, for whatever reason, decide to stay home and not play, very much as we saw in 2024?
What's interesting about what we saw in Michigan, maybe what we'll see in Wisconsin next Tuesday, it's not just that there are different candidates with different ideas and different platforms. It's also that there's a very high level of engagement and interest. You saw a vastly larger number of Democrats voting in the primaries in Michigan than Republicans. You've seen that across the country. And that translates into the same kind of energy in the general election. There's much more that unites Democrats than divides them. And Democrats are on the same side as the vast majority of Americans in wanting an economy that delivers for working people, not just those at the very top, wanting a country that doesn't plunge recklessly into unnecessary wars that not only cost lives, but make everyone's lives more expensive. That's stuff where Democrats across the board are right there with the vast majority of the public. And the level of energy people bring to these primaries, they're going to roll right into the general election, volunteering, talking to folks, and turning out votes at a level we've never seen in a midterm before. I think the energy people are putting in to the primary battles carries right into a blue wave this fall.
Okay, I see your challenge, and I want to raise you down ballot elections, because a lot of focus happens on the big name congressional races, the U.S. Senate race, for example. When you're looking at your state and you're looking at, and this is true, folks, you know, even though you may be the chairman of a state, you're looking around at what's happening in the states in your region and even across the country. How are you assessing the value of down ballot races? And what does that say to you, or what can they tell you about the direction of things?
Well, this is something that is at the core of the plan for this election cycle in my book, and was at the core of the extraordinary results Republicans had when you were the RNC chair. As much as people focus on the House and Senate, and they are so important, it's actually state legislative chambers that are going to have this gigantic effect going forward, especially now that we're in this season where Trump has tried to initiate a gerrymandering war to seize control of the House for the future. So in a state like Wisconsin, there's a chance for Democrats to win a majority in both the state assembly and state Senate. And the same is true in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, New Hampshire, in Nevada, there could be a Democratic trifecta. Look at Iowa, which has looked like a red state for a while. Democrats could flip 3 House seats, the governorship, attorney generalship, U.S. Senate seat, and a ton of state legislative seats. Those things play a gigantic role in setting the rules of the road for the elections in 2028 and beyond. And if you want to protect democracy right now, work on a down ballot race that no one's paying attention to, but where an overperformance could change who writes the rules of how American elections work. You got to protect them and not rig them the way that the GOP is trying to do at a national level with the SAVE Act.
It is the one thing about elections a lot of supposedly smart people don't know. Elections are not one top down, they're one bottom up. I love it. Ben Wickler, he's got a plan, y'all. Check him out. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.